All right, today we're going to tear down the latest financial report from biotech giant Amgen. We're not just looking at the headlines, nope. We are digging right into their official Q3 filing to find out what's really going on behind the numbers.
So here's the big question, right? How did a company like Amgen really do this past quarter? Was it all sunshine and rainbows, or are there, some little warning signs tucked away in the fine print? To get the real answer, we've got to go straight to the source.
And that source is the Form 10-Q. Now, this is the super detailed report every public company has to file. And look, I know, they can be dense, full of jargon, but that's where the real story's hiding. So let's break it down together and see what it tells us.
Okay, first up, let's check out Amgen's Q3 scorecard. Think of it like the report card for the quarter.
Wow, okay, the big headline number is total revenue. For the quarter, Amgen pulled in nearly $9.6 billion. I mean, that's a massive number, but a number like that always needs a little context, right? And then there's the bottom line, what really matters. Profit, net income. After you pay for everything, what's left? For them, it was just over $3.2 billion. So you've got revenue, you've got profit, but how do these numbers really stack up?
Well, here's that context we were talking about. You put it side by side with last year, and boom, revenue is up from $8.5 billion, and profit is up from $2.8 billion. I mean, that's some really solid growth year over year. But the real question is, how did they pull that off?
To figure out the how, we've got to peek inside the engine room. We need to break down their blockbuster drugs. These are the specific products that are really driving those massive numbers.
Okay, take a look at these. These are the superstars. You've got Prolia, their bone density drug, just chugging along with strong, steady performance. But then look at the jumps from Evenity, Repatha, and their cancer therapy, Blincyto. Just these 4 products, they are a huge part of the company's growth engine. And it's not just that they're growing, it's the speed of that growth that really stands out. Evenity sales, they shot up by 36% compared to last year. 36%! And Blincyto jumped 20%. This isn't just a slow and steady climb. This is rapid acceleration. So, okay, here's the million-dollar question. Why are sales up so much? The filing is super clear about this. It all comes down to one word, volume. They saw a 14% increase in the actual amount of medicine they sold. And this is so important because it means their growth is coming from getting their drugs to more patients, not from jacking up prices. In fact, the average price they got actually went down a tiny bit.
All right, so they're making a ton of money. Where is it all going? Let's take a look at how they're investing in the future. You could call it the price of progress.
This chart kind of lays it all out. Cost of sales, pretty straightforward. That's what it costs to actually make the drugs. Then you have SG&A, which is basically all these selling and office costs. But look at that other huge slice of the pie. That's all for research and development, R&D.
Get this, in just 3 months, 1 quarter, Amgen spent $1.9 billion on R&D. Think about that. That is a massive, massive bet on the future. It's funding the hunt for the next wave of medicines.
So what does that $1 billion+ actually pay for? Well, the filing tells us it covers the whole shebang. We're talking everything from the very first spark of an idea in a lab, through years and years of clinical trials with real patients, all the way to that incredibly complex, expensive process of getting the thing approved by regulators. That right there is the price of innovation.
But it's not all good news. The 10-Q isn't just a highlight reel. By law, companies have to spell out everything that could go wrong. So let's flip the page and look at the risks on the horizon. This is Amgen's official worry list.
And the company flags some pretty major headwinds. Right at the top of the list, government action on drug prices. Specifically, they're worried about Medicare setting prices under the Inflation Reduction Act. You've probably heard it called the IRA. They're also keeping an eye on these state-level boards, PDABs, that can put a cap on drug prices, and of course, the general uncertainty of global tariffs. And listen, this isn't just some what-if scenario down the road. This is happening right now. We pulled this quote directly from their report. The government has already set a significantly lower price for one of their huge drugs, Enbrel, and Amgen says point blank that this is going to hurt their profits. This really highlights the major tension the company is dealing with.
So when you put it all together, what's the big takeaway? On one hand, Amgen's business is absolutely booming. They're growing by getting these amazing, innovative medicines to more and more people. But on the other hand, this outside pressure on how much they can actually charge for those medicines is growing even faster.
And that leaves us with this really critical question to chew on. When sales are soaring but the price tags are getting squeezed, what does the future really look like for the price of innovation?